Hey everyone, this is your girl Sharifa, aka Shree, and welcome to the I'm Good podcast, or in better words, the I Feel Good podcast. If you are new here, welcome to the family. This is a podcast where I explore topics on mental health, physical health, nutrition, and everything in between. So if you're trying to get right and stay right mentally, this is definitely the place you want to be. And wait, before I begin, here's some quick info. Why did I name this podcast I'm Good? Simple. Because as people from a cultural standpoint, whether we are down or happy, our favorite response to friends, families, or strangers is I'm good, even if we're not. It's completely normal not to feel happy all the time, but in the midst of whatever you go through, the saying I'm good can elaborate to so many different meanings. So yes, this is the place to be whether you are down, happy, excited, and everything in between. I'm here to dish out knowledge, talk about current topics, and of course, lift you up. So feel free to go ahead and subscribe, share this podcast, leave a review, and tell a friend. Now let's go ahead and get started on today's show. Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And let me explain to you really quick. First of all, for starters, it's free. Yes, I said it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And I know most of you guys have a phone or computer, so it's so easy. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So make sure you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey y'all, welcome back to the I'm Good podcast. Check out today's rewind episode. Hey everyone, welcome to the I'm Good podcast. If you are new here, what's good? What's popping? For all of my returning listeners, what's good? Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast each week. You guys, y'all popping, okay? My I'm Good fam is popping. My returning listeners are popping. My new listeners are popping. Like, y'all are popping. Like, thank you guys so much for tuning into my podcast each week. So yes, we are in October. It is officially October, y'all. We are in October. Like, time is moving, but I'm okay with it. I have a lot of things planned for October. Well, yeah, for October before the rest of the year, whatever. So, for me, I think of now, I look at months as like quarters. So I'm like, we're in our fourth quarter, which means we're in the last 3 months of the year. So listen, y'all, this is the perfect time to get things done. If there's something that you want to do, whatever, get it done. Like, listen, we gonna go strong. We gonna end this year strong, and we gonna come into 2021 even stronger. So yes, y'all, we are in a new month. Even though today's October 2nd, yesterday was October 1st, but still, we are in a new month. So new month, new goals. Listen, all of it. We gonna get it popping. Also, too, we have a quick sponsor, All Things Shree. Yes, y'all. Y'all like All Things Shree? That sounds familiar. Yes, it does, because that's my website. But yes, this podcast is sponsored by All Things Shree, an online store featuring items that are meant to inspire and uplift you. Make sure you guys go ahead and use promo code I'mGoodFam at checkout to get 10% off your entire order. Yes, y'all. And then also, too, go ahead and follow me on my IG, which is I'm Good Podcast. I am building a community on there of Instagram users who do listen to this podcast, who might be new, who never heard this podcast. But make sure you guys go over there and y'all listen. I know y'all probably like Sharifa. You haven't posted in like a week. I know I gotta post, y'all. I'm gonna be posting on there. But yes, in the meantime, still go ahead and follow me on there. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask me those questions. I'm there to just, I feel like that podcast page, I'm more of an open book, because I do have a personal Instagram page, but I feel like my podcast page, I could be a little bit more open and more open book, because I will say this too, I guess for like people who like know me, like personal friends and family and stuff like that, this podcast, I guess may have kind of came off a little alarming to people a little bit, because a lot of people didn't know that I really, really cared about the wellness and the mental health and all the positivity things in regards to helping other people. Like, that's something that's like literally been in my spirit for a long time. Like, I love helping people. I love talking about positivity things. I love talking about positive things. I'm on a path right now of just a journey of, listen, a journey of positivity. Like, like it's too much negativity in this world. And, it's all around us. But listen, just like there's negativity, there's also positivity. And I'm here to shed light. So we don't need none of that negativity. All positive. This is a place for you guys to feel good, feel refreshed, to get information, to get educated, just to be like, here just to vibe out with me. So that's for all my new listeners. If you've never been here before, that's what the I'm Good fam is. It's to make you feel good. It's to educate you. It's, just to help you. Because generally, if you are listening to this podcast, you are here in regards to, growing. Like if you're listening to this podcast, especially for my returning listeners, is that, you're looking for ways, or you're probably already doing it, where you're growing as an individual, so that's why I kind of like to say this is also about personal development, self-care and things like that, because we're all growing. Like there's never a point when you stop growing. You don't, just because you hit 83 don't mean you grew or you fully grown. Like, no, you might be older, but there's always room for improvement, always room to grow. And like me, I try to continuously educate myself now, because I'm like, there's always room. I mean, I feel like there was a point where I'm like, oh, I think I got it, or I know it all. Like, don't ever think you know it all. Like, even when people try to tell me stuff that I already kind of know, I still sit there and listen, because you really don't know it all. No person really knows it all. And then the person who thinks they know it all, like, there's no way you know it all. So, like I said, I love listening to other people who are in the arena that I'm in, because I love to hear their perspective and take on different things and like that. So yes, y'all. So that's the I'm Good podcast. This I'm Good fam, just generally speaking, what we talk about. So yes, you can always, like I said, ask me questions on my Instagram. I do have an email as well, but because I do have the Instagram, well, my email will be in the show notes, so you can do that as well for any like business related things or collabs. My email will be in the show notes. If you don't have Instagram and you do have a question, you can certainly email me as well. Just make sure you put in the subject line Ask Shree. And then also too, if you do have an Instagram, feel free to DM me that way. You can hit Ask Shree as well. Put that in a DM, like, hey girl, and I'm gonna respond to you guys. So yes, y'all, listen, super chill. Like nothing, like it doesn't have to be anything too formal. Like I said, you can ask me something personal. Obviously, if it's too personal, I might be like, But, if you have a question, you want to pick my brain a little bit, just ask me like how I, maybe start his podcast or anything. Because I am on a journey right now of entrepreneurship. I am on a journey of health. I'm on a journey of everything, self-love, self-care. So if you have a question or want to pick my brain or anything like that, feel free to hit me up on there. And also too, I want to hear from you guys. If you don't have Instagram, or if you don't want to email me and you want to be anonymous, listen, I have a survey. Fill out the survey. It helps me and helps this podcast grow as well. It helps me to understand what you guys would like to see more of, what you like to hear more of. If y'all want to see me like on the screen, like let me know. If you want to see me like on a YouTube video, if you want to see this podcast live, let me know. So feel free to, fill out that survey. And then also too, if you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, yes, if you have an iPhone, definitely go ahead and rate and review this podcast. If you never rate a review, all you do is literally, I think you swipe up. Don't quote me. But while you're listening to this podcast, I'm pretty sure you can like close it out with the keep playing and then rate and review. It's just some stars. So it's 1 through 5 stars. And then you click the stars. And if you want to leave a comment, which is also nice as well, feel free to leave a comment in the review section. So yes, y'all, thank you guys so much. As always, like I said, for joining me. And then this today's episode, we're going to talk about consistency. Consistency is something that is not just in the area of one part of life. So it's not like, okay, I need to be consistent in health. Consistence is not even a word. But consistency it can apply to every area of life. But oftentimes a lot of us, we have one area where we're like, I want to be consistent. I want to be consistent. And I feel like one of the biggest areas is definitely health. People are like, I want to be consistent with, eating healthy and losing weight. But being consistent can, play parts in just about everything you do in life. So maybe you want to be consistent and, writing in a gratitude journal. Maybe you want to be consistent and, working out every day at 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. Maybe you want to be consistent in your relationship and communicating, or maybe you want to be consistent in helping somebody or do something. Like, there's all types of reasons or ways to be consistent. It's not literally just one way. So because we are in a new month, we got new month, new goals, all of that, new quarter, I want to talk about how you can be consistent for the rest of the year. So I want to just kind of give you some really quick tips on things that you can do to stay consistent. And as always, feel free to take notes. If you are driving, listen to this, please wait, do not take notes. But feel free to take notes, take some mental notes, say it out loud, repeat it after me after I say it. That helps things stick in the brain as well. I do that for my affirmations. I say things out loud. So, but yeah, so I'm just going to give you guys some really, really quick tips, and let me know also too, if this was really helpful. 'Cause like, this information was helpful for me. So I know it'll be helpful for you. So the first tip in regards to staying consistent is you want to focus on habits and not motivation. This is very important because I will say just about a couple years ago, I thought it was all about motivation. I thought consistency and being successful was all about motivation, until I learned after listening to like a podcast with Eric Thomas. He was talking about how you will not always be motivated and how he wasn't always motivated. But what he had to learn was he had to focus on creating a habit. So that really stuck out to me. So the first thing in regards to being consistent is, kill the noise for motivation. Yes, motivation is fine. Let motivation be like the cherry on top, but don't let motivation be the only reason why you're doing something. Like, say for instance, working out. So you say you're only motivated when like your friend comes over and asks you to work out. Like, don't let that be your motivation. Like, create a solid plan. Say to yourself, okay, today, say like this. Okay, for this month, the habit that I'm creating is to work out every day at 6 a.m. That's your habit. Now, how you work out, whatever you do, you have to figure that out yourself. You can say maybe it's to go to the gym, whatever, but your habit will be every day at 6 a.m. I will work out. You're not going to always have the motivation to want to go to the gym, to maybe want to work out at home, but you have to just create that habit. And trust me, by the time you successfully complete that habit, or you become consistent with it, you're going to see results. Like, that's how most people are successful, is when they create habits and they stay consistent with it. Like, most people that you see that are successful or anything like that, they're not always motivated. Think about somebody like a LeBron James. Do you think that he's always motivated? I mean, if you look at him, the way he played, kind of seemed like he's always motivated. But most people are not always motivated. I feel like the majority of people are not always motivated. But if you kind of look at him as an example, he's just consistent. He's like, you see him working out on off season. He's just consistent with what he do, and his consistency has led him to success. So that's the first tip, is you want to focus on your habits and not motivation. Like I said, your motivation will be your cherry on top. So say, for instance, like you get motivated by that gym music, like that pumps you up, like, oh, hey, keep it going. Like, say, for instance, you get motivated by that type of music. The habit is you already going to the gym, but when you listen to that music and you're motivated, like, that's the cherry on top. That really puts you in gear. But you really want to focus on habits. And like, this is important for me as well, because I feel like, I said years ago, for me, it was like motivation. I'm like, if I'm not motivated, I'm not doing it. And it doesn't work like that. Like, life doesn't work on, just pure motivation. Life works on habits. And like I said, some of the most successful people that you see, even on Instagram, like some of the most successful Instagram or influencers that you see are consistent. They consistently post. They consistently promote things. Like, people, I'm going to put it like this. When you're consistent, you'll win. And I'm talking about obviously something good. When you're consistently doing something good that's to help yourself or anything like that, you will win. That's also even relationships. If you're consistently doing, doing something nice or well for maybe your partner or whatever type of relationship it is, 9 times out of 10, you will create a winning atmosphere for that relationship. So consistency honestly wins. Because I'm just telling you, like, people generally, inconsistency scares people. Honestly, it scares people. And then it also can scare you as an individual when you're not consistent, because a lot of times if you're not consistent with yourself, you may say to yourself like, oh shoot, I don't know. And, we're not here for, negative self-talk. So you want to keep yourself in that positive self-talk. So you want to focus on habits and not motivation. So the next time you I don't feel motivated, it don't matter. Create a habit that's going to stick, and then let the motivation be your cherry on top. Because trust me, if you have a habit and you stick to it, people are going to see that you consistent, and they're going to start hyping you up. And then that's when you're going to get motivated. So, there's also a quote I also think of where people say, first they ask you why, then they ask you how. Like, oh, why are you always working out? Why are you always doing this? Why are you always doing that? And then after you show your results, or after, you get a fit body, whatever, then I'm like, oh, how did you start working out? How did you get in shape? It's like, well, them times you asked me why, I was doing these certain habits to get me to where I need to be. So that's the first one. You want to focus on habits and not motivation. The next thing you want to do is you want to eat healthy and work out. Now, for the sake of this podcast episode, for consistency, I'm not really necessarily talking about, for someone that wants to be consistent with eating healthy. I'm just talking about the mechanism between eating healthy and working out and what it does on your mental. And I'll be the first to let you know, when I eat healthy and work out, I'm telling you guys, I have a light bulb over my head. I'm consistent, I'm vibrant, I get things done, and then the universe works literally for me. I kid you not. The universe comes into full play. I can think clearer. I can execute my goals clearer. And it's not even so much of me, so much of losing weight. But when you eat healthy and when you work out, you're creating, remember we talk about that connection between eating healthy and the mind? There's a connection between eating healthy and your mental health. When you eat foods that are poor to your body, you're going to have poor mental health. When you don't work out, your body's not going to release those feel-good neurotransmitters. Remember we talk about that? If you don't remember, feel free to go ahead and binge watch. I always say that. Feel free to go ahead and binge listen to the other previous episodes, because I definitely did talk about that. But yeah, so eating healthy and working out will play numbers on your mind. Even if you are not trying to lose weight, just eating healthy. Maybe you need to juice. Maybe you need to fast. Whatever it is, do that. That will help you stay consistent with whatever goal you have in place. Another thing you can do is try to make at least one change at a time. So if there's something that you want to be consistent with this new quarter, try to make one change. Don't try to make, 10,000 changes at once, because a lot of time that's when your mind gets cluttered and you can't focus on everything. Try to make at least one change, and I guarantee that one change will lead to another change to another change to another change. So it's kind of like a train reaction. So once you figure out one thing that you want to change, 9 times out of 10, your atmosphere around you will start to change. You know what I'm saying? If you think about even working out, so if your one change is, I want to start working out every day at 6 a.m., you're going to start to see your atmosphere change around you. You might, tell friends or family, I'm not available at this certain time no more. So even though you're changing one thing, things around you will change as well, if that makes sense. So try to focus on changing one thing. And then from there, as you get solid and consistent in that one thing, then you can go on to the next thing. But often, a lot of times I can see for myself is that when I do change one thing, oftentimes things start changing around me. Good things start to change unknowingly, because I put it in the atmosphere that I do want to change one thing. Also, another thing you want to do, you want to create an environment of success. What does your environment look like? Do you have motivational stuff in front of you? Like for me, sticky note person all the day. Sticky note person all day. Literally, I have sticky notes everywhere with motivational quotes, to-do lists. I'm a sticky note person. That's me. So you want to create an environment of success. So if there's something that you want to be consistent with, what can you put in place of you that's going to keep you consistent? I know for me, I talked about, manifestation boards. I talked about vision boards. Maybe that's one thing that could keep you motivated. Maybe, it could be a picture of somebody. Maybe it could be like a treat. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is that you feel like is going to keep you grounded and consistent, I feel like you should keep that around you. So you want to create an environment of success. If there's negative people around you, or if you constantly hear negativity, see what you can do to try to change it. Maybe you could listen to positive stuff in place of the negative stuff, or listen to it. Also, too, don't watch news. I'm not really big on the news unless you have to. But you want to really create an environment of success, because when you create a winning environment, you'll start to win. But if you have an environment that's not of success, you'll kind of find yourself falling kind of short of where you need to be and to be consistent. Because listen, to win, even honestly, if you don't even have people around you that are supportive of you, and I talked about this before, there's tons of content on TV that you could find that's positive. And I'm talking about more streaming apps. You can find content on YouTube. There's a lot of different things you can do if you're not around an environment that's not like, I guess an environment of success. There are little things that you can do. Maybe you can go find a book, read a book. Also, too, maybe you can go work out. Like, create that environment of success. Like, whatever it is, whatever it takes, create that environment. And then some people might say to you, like, why do you have all this stuff in front of you? Whatever. Don't even explain it. Just know that's the way it's going to keep you on track. Like, for me, I got sticky notes everywhere. That's the way I stay motivated. That's the way I create my environment of success. I have sticky notes with quotes, everything, because that's how I stay consistent. And that's also how I stay motivated. And that's also how I create an environment of success. And then I also make sure I'm very careful about what I put around me, what I listen to, and who I do have around me. That's also very important as well. The next thing that you can do is, I would say is, keep a gratitude journal. Keep a journal of just information, of things to keep you on track. So if you need to create a consistency plan, or if there's something that you want to be consistent with, notate that, okay, hey, today I accomplished it. But tomorrow I can do this a little better. Today I got up at this time, but I can see maybe tomorrow I might need a little bit more improvement. Or, hey, today I did it. I killed it. I went to the gym. Like, keep a gratitude journal. And I'm telling you, that will help you, stay consistent as well. Because I find myself, when you chart your success, like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, you're more consistent, because you're like, okay, you're holding yourself accountable that, okay, I do have to stay consistent, because now I have to write in this journal what I did today. And who wants to look at a blank space? Like, say, for instance, you on day 2 and then you skip to day 4 and don't do day 3. You're going to be mad at yourself. So keeping a journal, a gratitude journal, a to-do journal, a tracker journal can also help you stay consistent. So whatever it is, like I said, it could be any area of your life. Maybe, like I said, just keep a journal, maybe put a check mark, put day 1, day 2, whatever. Listen, that is probably, honestly, now that I think about it, is one of the top reasons why I have been consistent in a lot of areas of my life lately, is because I write it down and I try to be consistent with what is going on. I also make sure, too, that I do have a gratitude journal. So, like, the days where I'm not motivated or things like that, I write in my gratitude journal to look back at how far I have come. So I think it is, like I said, it's very important, especially if you're having a really, really hard time to be consistent with something, is create or buy a journal, piece of paper, whatever, put it in your phone, and track each day that you do that one thing to stay consistent. Because honestly, for the sake of this podcast and for the sake of this information, whatever you want to do in regards to consistency, it should be like a daily thing. You want to create something that you can do on a daily basis to keep you consistent. Now, let's be honest. Now, if it's something like that you need to be consistent with once a week, which makes sense. There are some things that you need to do to be consistent once a week. That's fine. Or maybe once a month. You can, still do the whole journal aspect where you could be like, okay, in March I did this, in April I did this, December I did this. So you can still do the same thing that applies. But if it's something that you're trying to be consistent with daily, I would highly suggest to have like a journal or something that tracks day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, where you can literally physically notate, check, did it. Or you can also put like a message like, completed this today. I did a great job, or completed this today, and maybe there's room for improvement tomorrow. So yes. And then also too, another tip is to remember that it's always progress over perfection. This is something that I've been repeating over and over and over again lately. Progress over perfection. Like, we're not perfect human beings, so nothing that we do is going to be perfect. Now, it can be great, it can be magnificent, but just also remember, when it comes to being consistent, all your days won't look the same. So there might be one day where you're consistent doing something, but it might not be to the fullest strength as it was the previous day. Don't worry about that. Just worry about that you did it. You got it done. However you got it done. If usually your thing that you're supposed to do takes 15 minutes and you only did it for 10 minutes, who cares? You did it. Like, look at it that way. So you want to say to yourself, progress over perfection. Who cares? Like, we're not here for perfection. Like, I had to learn that myself. I'm not perfect. Therefore, things that I do won't be perfect, but I can do things to prepare myself to not appear to be perfect, but I can do things I can do things for myself to be at a high level, if that makes sense. So I can do things, prepare myself to be at that higher level. If I not perfect it, but I do it in a form of perfection, but not perfected, if that makes sense. So remember that. Progress over perfection. Progress over perfection. Progress over perfection. Don't worry about perfection. If it don't look right, if it ain't right, if you weren't able to give 100%, you still did it. Progress over perfection. Like, I'm literally saying that like 3 times, because I'm like, that is something that I feel like, especially in the society, is that all we think about is perfection. Like, it has to look like this. It has to be done like that. No. Progress over perfection. Progress will win every time. Progress is the same thing kind of as consistency, just as it is discipline. So that is what will basically count. It ain't the perfection that's going to count. It's your progress, it's your consistency, and how you were able to be disciplined. So that's what's actually going to count. And then the next thing I will say is kind of same thing as creating a winning or a successful environment, is you can also have accountability partner. I guess for all things, you don't need that, depending on what thing you're trying to do to remain consistent. You don't necessarily need an accountability partner. But if you don't have accountability partner, you can kind of go back to the trick that I was telling you guys about before, where you can just have accountability journal. So you could just basically notate each time you do something to keep yourself accountable and consistent. So yes, y'all, those are just some really, really quick tips that I wanted to get in this week in regards to, making sure that you execute these next 3 months. Like, listen, we gonna get it on and popping. It's new month, new goals. We gonna get it on. We gonna get it popping. Listen, we gonna stay on top. We not gonna let things get us down. And even if something does get you down, listen, pick yourself up. Listen, progress over perfection. I'm giving virtual hugs to everybody, because I feel like we all need virtual hugs. Even I need a virtual hug. But listen, we are going to get things done. And just remember, like, listen, at the end of the day, be you. And just love yourself, honestly. Just love yourself, love who you are, and don't be hard on yourself. Like I said, don't be hard. Be consistent with whatever you're trying to do, but don't be hard on yourself, okay? Oh, Cardi B. Okay, so this week's quote of the week is, you don't have to be extreme, just consistent. Let me repeat that again. You do not have to be extreme, just consistent. Period. So you know what that means, guys. All right, I'm good, fam. We are now at the end of this week's show, and I hope this information was helpful, insightful, and everything in between. Do not forget to subscribe to this podcast, follow it, share this podcast, leave a review, tell a friend, share it on your socials, do what you got to do. But thank you guys once again so much for tuning into this podcast this week, and I will see all of you beautiful people next week. Bye-bye.